Okay guys, so what do we really think of the Phoenix Wright anime so far? In my opinion, it's one piece of garbage that ought to burn in the pits of hell, but I can't stop watching it. To make things clear, I'll be using the English names for the characters in this video just because they're easier to pronounce. Phoenix Wright, the anime, is based on the Ace Attorney games where the first one was released back in 2001. The anime is a cheap copy and paste version of the games. Every scene, dialogue, on-screen text and even camera angles are pretty much the same as in the game. It's the truest adaptation I've seen in years, if not ever. And it's this faithful adaptation that is the show's strength and its weakness. On one side, at least they didn't fuck up anything, because it's basically the games in cutscene format. But on the other side, they wasted a valuable opportunity to bring the stories and characters alive. I would have loved to see more action and vibrance, but instead they opted for the lazy route. In doing so, the anime becomes much less an anime in terms of using the medium for what it's worth. Film as an art is not taken into consideration in this series, as it follows the visual novel style in its location and action. The only thing they've really added to the anime is the over-the-top drama that takes place in the courtroom. The flick of a finger is enough to send someone flying, which is pretty silly if you ask me. I'm struggling to understand if this is a show aimed at the kids who played Ace Attorney, or just kids, because there's an important difference between the two. The people who play the games aren't actually children anymore. These comedic elements aren't particularly funny. In fact, I cringed myself through the first episode. The animation is average at best, and I don't think I'm the only one who hates the courtroom CG with a passion. I'm just gonna go and say it. The characters are really dumb. Larry is the prime example here, but I suppose he is in there for comedic relief. I did find the villains pretty laughable though. Most of them are sleazy and pathetic, not at all scary or intimidating. But that's enough about what makes Phoenix Wright an awful anime. I want to know why, despite all its glaringly obvious flaws, do people still watch and love this anime? And I'm not pulling this out of nowhere, people actually like the show. I visited some forums and there seems to be a consensus that the show is fine, even entertaining to a lot of people. Some reviewers even claimed that viewers who weren't familiar with the games would still be able to enjoy the anime. The most obvious reason that people like the show is the nostalgic factor. The anime brings a lot of people back to their childhood, especially since it's so close to the games. But I think there's more to it than that. The Phoenix Wright anime does have some merits that we have yet to explore. I'll start with what excited me the most, the voice actors. We have Yuki Kaji in the lead, finally playing someone who isn't a whiny teenager, and I was curious to see how he'd hold up. In fact, he's one of my favorite voice actors, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on that. And I don't mind Yuki Aoi, I thought she was great as Madoka, but I worried about Maya as a character. I feared she'd be an annoying sidekick to Phoenix, but Yuki plays her well. She brings life into a character previously without voice, and personally, I like Maya a lot better in the anime than in the games. Now, I believe the characters are key to why we love the anime despite its flaws. See, we've played the games and been through the journey with the characters. We rooted for Phoenix even though he can be dumb and naive. We hated Edgeworth at first but then grew to love him through his hardships. We even grew to like Dick Gumshoe because as the player of a visual novel, we had to warm up to him. And so we have a connection to the characters even before watching the anime. Our warm feelings towards them contribute to our liking the anime even though it's shit. Because at the core of it, the characters are still the same. We know what's in their past and what's ahead of them, and for once we don't have to sit through puzzles and illogical logical problems to advance the stories. There's one more thing that I feel really makes the anime shine. Although I said that the comedy isn't very funny, there's something about its presence that creates a unique tone of the series. The anime is all about about solving crimes and finding true murderers, but it keeps an overall light-hearted tone, resembling a tragic comedic play you might find in post-World War II British theatre. And that's not something you see very often these days, at least not to this extent. Phoenix always finds a way to end the episode on a happy note, despite that someone just died and another person was just convicted for it. The comedic elements are so out of place and inappropriate that it's entertaining to watch, and that's essentially what I love so much about this anime. It's a piece of shit, but man, if I'm not having a brilliant time watching it.